Hello, good evening, welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from Sabata Desawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, the National Democratic Congress readies for Akwatia by-election. Meanwhile, party chair Johnson Esedun Ketia pleads with party members not to rush into contesting the Tamale Central seat. Stay with us. We've got details for you here on Ghana Tonight. Also, elder of the New Patriotic Party, Kwame Pianim, has advised the party to undertake a deeper reflection on its current direction. He warned that without meaningful restructuring, the party risks losing its relevance. Now, we've got a conversation on that for you here on Ghana Tonight. Also, tonight, the National Communications Authority suspends the broadcasting licenses of 9 radio stations, including 3 of Want2Be Multimedia Company Limited. Now, the Ghana Independent Broadcast Association, GIBA, has been also talking about this latest development. We'll hear from the lawyers of Want2Be Multimedia on what they intend to do next after this development. Stay with us. You're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
President John Mahama has pledged to set up a fund to finance the education and welfare of children of victims of the August 6 helicopter crash, which led to the demise of government officials and military personnel. He made the announcement at the funeral rites for former Deputy National Security Coordinator Alhaji Mohammed Lumina Muniru.
You could call Muniru at 1 a.m. in the night and tell him, Muniru, go to Yempi or go to Dabango. He won't hesitate, he won't wait till morning. He will set off that same night and go and perform the errand that you have sent him to perform. We'll do a state funeral on Friday the 15th for all of them. And at the funeral, we will announce some program for creating a fund that will assist with the education of their children.
The final funeral rites of the late Member of Parliament for Tamale Central constituency, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, has been held in Tamale. People from all walks of life gathered at his family house to observe the funeral rites. National Chairman of the NDC, Johnson Esedun Ketia, who led a government delegation to the funeral, eulogized the late Environment, Science and Technology Minister as a God-fearing person, noting that his death has united Dabong and the 5 regions of the north.
Listening to Murtala, you begin to find out, was he trained in the Bible or in the Quran, or how was he trained? Because when he quotes religion, he supports everything with verses from all the great books. I'm so excited that the passing of our brother Murtala has brought Dagbon together.
The Speaker of Parliament has urged Hansard editors across Africa to ensure their parliamentary reports reflect accuracy and neutrality. He emphasized the role of parliamentary reporting in preserving the continent's identity, while urging governments to provide resources to enhance Hansard's editors.
Now, global governance itself is under serious threat. And I like the partnership you are building, so that together, not only in Africa, not only in the Commonwealth, but at the World Parliament, we can have a very well-structured system of reporting. We will try as much as possible to put at your disposal the digital tools to enhance your work.
The National Communications Authority, NCA, has suspended the operations of 9 radio stations across the country, including 3 Wontumi FM stations in Accra, Kumasi and Takoradi for various infractions. In a statement dated August 12, the NCA said the move follows the end of a 30-day grace period granted by President John Dramani Mahama for defaulting stations to rectify violations of broadcasting regulations. While some acted within the amnesty period, others failed to address key breaches. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association is raising alarm over the delay in recruiting more than 1,000 qualified nurses and midwives who completed training between 2021 and 2024 but are still waiting for government postings. According to the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, the delay in employing this group is putting immense pressure on the existing healthcare workforce, especially in already understaffed facilities. Vice President of the association, Samuel Akologo, asked government to act swiftly.
I cannot conclude these observations without calling on the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance to give the needed clearance for our 2021, 2022, 2023 cohort of qualified nurses and midwives. As they sit home, their skills are getting deteriorated. We cannot pretend to care for the health of the country if we are not ready to invest significantly in health care.
Oh, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live as well on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and also on YouTube as TV3 Ghana. It's also proudly brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Saxo Insecticide Spray, and Qualcomm Tonton Precom. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight. Ashanti Regional Security Council has extended the window for people to return items picked from the helicopter crash site as calls intensify for a rigorous investigation. Well, let's not forget them too quickly. These are 8 people. We refer to them as gallant Ghanaians, heroes, patriots, but to their families, they remain the backbone, providers, fathers, brothers, siblings. That's what really counts. But earlier today, you recall yesterday, on Ghana Tonight, we got that information from Ibrahim Abubakar, Ashanti Regional Correspondent, that the Regional Coordinating Council had, as of yesterday, communicated that it was the deadline for the period for any of the residents in Brofie to Sikaman to bring the debris and any other item they picked from the crash site for a cash reward. A number of them responded to that appeal, returned the debris and others as well, as was put out. But there was still that suspicion that there are a lot more residents who have some of this debris and other items they picked at the crash site still with them. So there has to be an extension of the period for this appeal to the residents to return the debris and what they picked from the crash site. And there's a reason why. This is crucial to the entire scheme of the investigation. But let's hear from the Ashanti Regional Minister, who is the chair of the Regional Security Council in the Ashanti region, Dr. Mwakohene, speak to my colleague, Ibrahim Abubakar, today, that there has had to be an extension of this period because they have that suspicion that there are more residents keeping some of the debris and other items picked from the crash site. Take a look.
Yesterday, the NADMO, together with the assembly member and then the TC, they did a good job by making sure that those that were within the community, they made us have it. They pleaded for an extension because we were expecting everything yesterday. Because from some of the intelligence, we realized that some have actually traveled to the nearby towns, which meant that it was practically impossible getting all of them yesterday. So we still encourage them that they can still return it for the ransom we had made available to them. No matter how small the part may be, it's still very important for the investigation. There is not something to keep in your room for museum purposes whatsoever. It's something we need to facilitate the investigation. So we are still in touch with them. You will never get everyone appreciating what you do. And that is part of life. So it's about your intentions and your heart towards the service. That should give you self-fulfillment. We are not saying that things of this nature should happen again, but it makes us better people. So,
well, that's Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Mwakohene. So that's the point he makes, that based on intelligence, they have had to extend the period for this appeal for the residents to bring back any debris, item, or anything they picked at the crash site. Because yesterday was the deadline. But now, they say NADMO has picked that intelligence that some of the residents have traveled to the nearby community. And they suspect that some of them will still have items picked from the crash site. And there's a reason why they need this period to get all they can get from the residents who may have ignorantly picked items from the crash site. And this is crucial, and this is the reason why. According to the archival safety and also preservation measures and mechanisms, whenever there is a helicopter or plane crash or anything of the sort, first, the site, that crash site must be secured to prevent disturbance, looting, or contamination of evidence. But with what has happened now, this particular first point has been violated because the residents went there, in the bid to help the situation, and as first responders to this rather unfortunate incident, there has been inadvertently the disturbance and the contamination of evidence. 2, the next step was to ensure that any sharp wreckage, water blades, instability established, and then the preservation of perishable evidence, whether footprints, debris. Take note of this, the debris scatter patterns can change quickly. Now, if this is anything to go by as one of the measures that should be abided by during the investigation, this one has also been messed up already, because as first responders to this disaster, the debris that they picked, even though the debris was scattered around, has been picked to their homes. And so the positioning of the debris has also changed. we're going to be finding out from a forensic scientist as to how important this is, to the extent that if there now has been this incident of the residents out of ignorance picking this debris from the crash site to their homes, they have then messed up the debris scatter pattern. To what extent will that impact on investigations? That's the conversation. But if you listen to the residents and why they were picking the debris, my colleague Ibrahim Oboka spoke to them. Just take a listen to them. Also, they were happy, showing the parts. And that, my colleague Ibrahim Oboka then had to appeal to them to make these debris available to the Ghana Police Service and the other security agencies who thronged the place eventually. But thankfully, let's understand the extent to which what has happened now can impact on the investigation at the crash site. Jonathan, our woman is a PhD forensic science student in Florida International University in Miami, and a former senior staff at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST. He is studying for his PhD in forensic science in Florida International University. He's joining us on Zoom from Miami right now. Good evening to you. Jonathan, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening, Alfred. Good evening to you and your cherished listeners. I'm so glad to join you to share my opinion on this evening.
Perfect. You've been following events back at home, unfortunate as it is, but you've been also looking at the videos that Ibrahim Oboka secured and the residents who took the debris from the crash site, took it home. It has had to take days of appeal to them. Some of them have returned the debris. And then, based on intelligence, then the Ashanti Regional Minister says there has to be an extension of the period of appeal because they suspect that they have more of the residents with this debris they haven't returned. To what extent has this act of the residents tampered with this crash site investigation, and how much of an impact will that have on the investigation itself at the crash site?
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I think you have mentioned a few things already. So you realize that we had already lost the first layer, which is for us to have a very good forensic investigation. What we needed to have is what happened at the crime scene. Forensic experts need to see the crime.
Hello? Sorry, we had that little connection challenge with Jonathan there from Florida. We'll try to rectify shortly, but this is what the residents, in fact, let's just show that video of the moment that they went to this crash site to pick the debris to establish the point that Jonathan was making before we lost him. Just a few minutes. We'll try to reestablish contact with him. Take a look. I lost you briefly. You were making a point about what the extent to which this has tampered with investigations at the crash site.
Yeah, thank you. So what I was saying is we have lost maybe the first layer, which is having the crime scene as it was. Having the disaster scene, my apologies, as it was when the incident happened. So you see what we are now doing right now is what we call the crowdsourced evidence recovery, which is what the Ashanti Regional Minister is doing. When you lose the first phase of the disaster scene, which you need to do an accurate forensic investigation, there is also another layer, and which is the crowdsourced evidence recovery, where you look at those who rushed to the scenes and picked a few of the debris, and if they could return it, all those are going to help us in our investigations. But let me say, investigations like this, forensic experts need to be able to see the scene as it was when the incident occurred, because forensic investigations is like reconstructing the story just to be able to link the points. And then at the end of the day, when a forensic expert, we get to the scene, looking at the positions, the angle, and even how everything is placed in the disaster scene, you're able to tell a story. But in this case, we've lost that. So we are now using the second or the alternative approach, which is the crowdsourced evidence recovery, trying to get most of the things that the residents have picked. And when this happens, of course, we have what we call the debris field geometry, right? So debris field geometry, you basically would see that when you get to the crime scene, based on the positions of every debris in the place, the geometry tells you a story of the scatter pattern, in this case, of the unfortunate incidents we have. Things have been moved. I've seen videos where residents were carrying some of the parts. That even makes you lose more of traced evidence. And of course, the other key portion is this: we have what we call the avionic models. The avionic models are just building blocks of an aircraft, be it the aeroplane or the helicopter. This, it can tell you a lot about the communication system, the tracking system, some of the electronic systems of the aircraft. Once again, if residents picked some of this, they need to get all this back, because all this needs to be put together in addition to the scene of the disaster to help tell a better story.
I see. Now, you talk about bringing all of that together. Here's where the challenge is. Now, they have been moved from their original location when this disaster occurred. So that's a challenge already that has been created. How can that be remedied?
Oh, so yeah, there are different layers of the investigation. You can also rely on digital forensics. Over here, you look at flight tracking, the recordings and audio, if you can retrieve some of that. That's why I mentioned the avionic models. Some of the parts people picked, most of them would always contain recordings and then pieces of electronic information, where forensic scientists can retrieve bits of digital information that when they put together, it can also tell them something. Maybe before the final phase of the disaster took place, a lot of communications had gone on. The pilots and the people inside had made certain calls. That is where we look at the digital forensics. You want to look at, maybe let's say it started like 15 minutes before the incident finally happened. Most would have made certain calls, and you want to trace all this. So apart from just relying on the crime scene data, which you want to construct the debris field geometry to build your story as a forensic specialist or analyst, there is also another layer for you if this has been contaminated, as it has been in this case, or as it is in this case, using digital forensics.
I see. Now, there's another bit about the eyewitness reports as well, because we've seen different forms of, or different aspects of this crash when it comes to the eyewitness accounts. You've had the dominant one being that a number of the residents said they had this, or they saw this helicopter fly at a very low altitude. Others, we had another narrative of it possibly, blasting in the air before anything happened. How do you corroborate all of that together to ensure that you sieve the wheat from the chaff and that you are working with an eyewitness account that is credible?
Thank you, Alfred. As well, I believe when you get to the scene as a forensic analyst, so if you look at this kind of disasters, you would be able, that is why I said the key thing we needed here was the basic particles and debris in the field should have been where they are. Now, the distance of one debris to the other, how far it flew or it scattered, tells a story. But I believe they were able to pick some of them, and forensic experts can put that together. Now, if a plane crash, I'm not an expert when it comes to this flight stuff, But if a plane crashed, and then if a plane if the helicopter was attacked, and then it exploded in the air, the story from a forensic expert is going to be different, because there is what to look for when a plane crashes, and there is what to look for when it probably exploded in the air before getting down. Now, resident had mentioned, and I've also seen that in some of the videos on social media, that it was flying low before. I know they can always fly low, but not as low as the tallest tree. So maybe something could have maybe caused them to even be that low before that incident happened. But I think the strong or the big evidence or the big layer here that they can use to help themselves with investigations will be to rely on digital forensics to see all those who were on the flight. Did they make certain communications prior to this happening? If they did, they would have communicated with people, or they tried to leave certain informations and then all that. I'm seeing something circulating that one of them had made a call. I don't know how true it is. So we can rely on digital,
which is key. Very, very key. And you keep referencing the digital footprints and then also all the others that can be leveraged in this instance as well. Then the question will be whether those digital installations are there and available or were in place before this crash as well. That's going to be absolutely, and that's going to be the next phase of the conversation. But I do appreciate you for this preliminary information that you put across as to where the forensic scientist will also be looking at the aspect of this conversation. You'll be looking at beyond just establishing the DNA, which is the medical forensics. There's also, right, Jonathan, there's also another forensics that would have to take place at the crash site. So what has just happened is just establishing the DNA and identifying the people. There's another aspect of forensics that will have to take place at the crash site, correct? Sorry, I lost him. We'll continue this conversation. Jonathan Awewomom is a forensic science PhD candidate in the Florida International University, a former senior staff at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, joining us from Miami, also monitoring the events back home. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And this is an issue that we're going to stay the steam on for as long as possible to understand the issues, because as established, disasters have happened, disasters are happening, and disasters unfortunately will happen. And as we've seen, the rate of casualty would continue to rise. So what do? What are the learnings that we have to take to ensure that we are better prepared for the next one? But this is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, the NDC is gearing for the Akwatia by-election, but Chairman Johnson Esiedun Ketia urges caution on the Tamale Central constituency, because this one is going to be an all NDC affair, because as stated yesterday, the NPP says they are not going to contest the Tamale Central constituency by election as a result of the death of Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. But lawyer Bernard Bedo, the National Democratic Congress candidate for the Akwatia constituency, has filed his nomination at the Electoral Commission's office to contest the Akwatia by-election scheduled for September 2. You recall the Akwatia parliamentary seat became vacant following the demise of the elected MP for the area, the NPP MP for the Akwatia constituency, NSC Alkumi, the late. The NPP had hoped the NDC would also refrain from contesting or to change their minds from contesting the Akwatia by-election, especially after they withdrew from the impending Tamale Central by-election due to the passing of the NDC MP Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. Now, in the August 6th plane, that's a helicopter crash. But it does not look like really that would happen, or the NDC would respond to that gesture, if you'd want to call it. But what we're showing you right now are the videos of the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Akwatia by-election, who was a lawyer for the 2024 parliamentary candidate for the NDC. as lawyer Bernard Bediako-Badu, who filed his nomination today. So that confirms that indeed the NDC is going ahead to contest this parliamentary by-election on September 2. Interestingly, he was accompanied by the two contenders during the primaries of the NDC last week that had him elected as the candidate to represent the NDC in this by-election. So you see the 2024 candidate for the Akwatia constituency on the ticket of the NDC, who together with another, both contested lawyer Bernard Bediako-Badu, all accompanying him as well to file his nomination. Let's connect with Eastern Regional Correspondent Yvonne Ikwe, who monitored all that happened at the Electoral Commission's office there in the Eastern region where this nomination was filed. Yvonne, it appears that all is set for September 2, and the NDC making the statement quite clear that they are going to contest after the filing of lawyer Badu today, is it not?
Rightly said, Alfred. They're filing, the elections come September 2. I was seeing the candidate himself and two of those who contested against him marched to the EC's office to file their nominations. We do know that, God willing, tomorrow, other parties will also finish theirs, and then the EC can continue with the balloting for the by-election process to begin.
Now, also, you've been monitoring the temperature in the Akwatia constituency. The two political parties hitting the ground running, campaigning already. How's it looking like?
Alfred, it's calm as of now, especially with what the entire nation is going through because of that particular loss. It's been calm. What we are seeing is the political parties visits several of the communities trying to lobby, as it were, the electorate in the constituency to get their vote. We're talking about almost 40,000 potential voters who will be casting their ballot in the particular by-election. And so it's about the lobbying from the parties who will be contesting in the election. So calm as of now. We're hoping that this calmness will continue until the by-election ends on September 2.
Great stuff. And Yvonne, I know that you're also gauging the mood ahead of September 2. We'll certainly be connecting with you a lot more as we go on. But let's, Yvonne Ikwe is our Eastern Regional Correspondent. Let's hear from lawyer Bernard Bediako-Badu when he filed his nominations earlier today. Take a look.
What we've done and what you see here is that contrary to the assertion that NDC is not united and that we are divided, you've seen that the very fine gentlemen I went into the contest with are behind me. Honorable Okoyo, the former MP, is solidly behind me. Honorable Asanka is also here. That shows a united front within the party that we are going into these elections with. It is with deep sorrow that we came this way because of the tragedy we've all experienced in the country. That notwithstanding, we have to forge on. And so we pray that what we've done now, and as we move out, we are going out there to speak to the people, the populace, the electorate to vote for the NDC, because there are some promises led by President Mahama we gave to the people of Akwatia. He needs a representative whom he can trust to deliver on the promises that he gave to Akwatia. And that is exactly why we are here today. He has 3.5 years to be in power. And Akwatia deserves to have its fair share of the national cake. And through its rep, we pray that the electorate of Akwatia constituency considers that there is a need for development. Ernest Yaokumi, the late, may his good soul rest in peace, would obviously wish that Akwatia would prosper. And so we do not think that it is out of emotions at this moment to deny the people of Akwatia our share of the national cake.
Contenders in the primary election also pledged their support for him. Take a look.
I consider defeat and I congratulate my brother, lawyer Bernard Bediako, before even the EC declared him as a winner. ɛno akyi ɔmo so ba me nan so ɛma yɛtena sɛ abusua.
We sat down together and planned the progress for the party. The party is bigger than anyone.
The party is bigger than everyone.
United Front is one of the most important thing.
A united front is the most important thing.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has called on members to hasten slowly in contesting the Tamale Central seat, despite the New Patriotic Party expressing disinterest in the seat. Here's Johnson Esedun Ketia earlier today.
That they will not contest us in Tamale Central. So it's a challenge to us whether we are going to fight among ourselves in getting a replacement in Tamale Central. So on behalf of the party, I want to beg everybody that don't let us rush over each other as to who should succeed Honorable Muntala.
That's Johnson Esedun Ketia there. And for the Tamale Central by-election, it's going to be an all-NDC affair if the other political parties do not contest that by-election. But coming up next, let's stay a bit further on matters of politics. You know, the New Patriotic Party elder and celebrated economist Kwame Pianim is issuing a strong warning or caution, essentially, calling for deep reflection and urgent restructuring to save the party from fading into irrelevance. But this is one that the statesman and elder of the New Patriotic Party, Kwame Pianim, made that particular statement and that caution that the NPP stands being irrelevant soon if the current leadership fails to listen to the elders and change course. The comment follows a week of social media banter between the spokespersons of the leading presidential aspirants, Dr. Bamur Bawumia and Kennedy Ohene Japan, on who qualifies most to lead the NPP into the 2028 polls. He spoke in an exclusive interview with Beatrice Edu earlier.
Mr. Piani, you are an elder of the NPP, like you just said.
Yes.
What do you make of the decision of the party to elect a flag bearer first ahead of the other grassroots elections? I mean, kind of doing it from top to the bottom.
I don't agree with it. We are trying to restructure the party. We are trying to get the young people who are running the party to halt, look, and listen, so I will get the direction right. I know a lot of founding members of the party who are unhappy with the direction and state of the party, and who are anxious and contacting the current leadership of the party, both in Parliament, the National Secretariat, and the Council of Elders, to try to hold a stakeholder engagement to look at the direction and state of the party. They are worried about the direction the young people are taking the party. And I'm hoping that we'll soon get our act together to rebuild, to restructure, and build a united front to move forward.
Are the young people listening?
I think that once 50% of the solution is identifying there's a problem and posing a question. They have to listen because it's their future. As I said, it's not my future. The young people in the NPP now, it's their future. If we do not listen and restructure our party, the party NPP will become as irrelevant to the politics of Ghana as the CPP has become.
Well, so that's the direct words of Kwame Pianim there. And that's why I bring in Professor Samuel Edujemfi. He's a political historian and a senior lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, joining us. Thank you, Prof, for staying up to connect with us here on Ghana Tonight. You heard those clear words of Kwame Pianim there. There are those of your like mind, political analysts, who say the NPP is too big to fail or too big to become irrelevant or lose its relevance as posited by Kwame Pianim. Which side of the pendulum does your thought swing?
Not too sure about that, but I think that the NPP has challenges and it may lead it into a dwindling state where it may not be able to win elections, and it may take time for it to recover if it continues on such negative trajectory or tangent. In the first instance, I would say that the party, at least leading up to the 2024 elections and in its current form, is very parochial and whimsical in their interest and also their involvement in the national discourse and politics and all that. It has come about because of its own internal schisms. One that it's a party which lost elections over 1.7 million, vote difference, and it still is pretending that it has not suffered such defeat. Again, it is beginning to rather lay the blame squarely on others instead of the leaders. These are the hanging fruits, simple as that. The leaders who led the party into such defeat should have accepted responsibility and allow the party's internal democratic culture to suffice so that the party from bottom-up approach would elect its officers. Whether the current officers would present themselves, and even if they do and they lose, it would have come about through a proper democratic process and culture. Today, they are in a haste to do a lot of stuff, trying to change their constitution, throwing some items here and there to satisfy the interest of a few people within the party in an attempt to hijack the party. And so they will not listen to their elders. They will debate their elders in public. They will have all manner of things to say against chief actors of their party who have supported their party since its reinvigoration in the 1990s, especially in the Fourth Republic, because some people want to still hold on to political power within the party. That has come about because these persons think that if they allow for the democratic processes of the party that allows for even proper reflection to take place, they are not going to win power within the party. And so they find means of disrupting everything. Today, I'm told, I don't know whether it's correct, that they are saying that they will not present a candidate with the current misfortune we have seen in this country at the Honorable Mutale's constituency. But if you were even looking at that fair and squarely, this honorable gentleman who has passed on, it will be in the best interest of Ghana and the constituents that a properly constituted or a well-organized democratic arrangement which allows for competition, right, would allow for the best candidate to emerge and to lead the people. So if you want to honor a passing soul, somebody who has contributed immensely to the development of an area or served this constituents, you don't lower the standards. You rather allow for proper and effective competition to take place. And we are hearing these things because the MPP has become almost whimsical in their approach to everything they do today. It is by and large because of the fact that they are not interested in listening to people who have good conscience in many respects and are interested in consolidating the democratic culture of the country.
Well, you referenced the Tamale Central that taking a decision that they'll pull out. They give reasons why, that they don't want to contribute to any acrimonious environment, the tension that characterizes by-elections. They don't want it to be part of the entire exercise in Tamale Central because of the circumstances under which that seat became vacant. Kwame Pianim referenced what happened in Ablekuma North as well, and you draw that in. What's really going to change? I mean, or what would you have expected the party to do?
I'm not sure whether it's a question of effectiveness or efficiency, because, I mean, definitely young people are seen to be effective because of how they present themselves, as if they are workaholics, as if they are in active duty, having some sweat on their brow to demonstrate that they are there. But they have to be efficient, because if you have a big cutlass and it is not well, sharpened, it cannot be able to cut within a short space of time. So that there's a question about efficiency, because they think that just having press conferences, expressing opinion, and being quick to say something, it's what leadership represents. I've said time and again, leadership is about effective change and also influence. And I think that the level of influence, in the sense of positive influence, is lacking, because they are misreading the political terrain. They disregard what is happening on the ground. They seem to have disregard for research, and they are tickling themselves and stroking their egos. I think it is the sin of young men. I'm hoping that they will understand that they need both keys to operate, the old key and the new key, to produce a melodious sound. Their inability to reflect and hurriedly jump out to say something is a sign of lack of efficiency and lack of leadership. I agree in tutu with the elder. I agree in tutu.
Thank you very much for this particular issue and the matter that you bring on to it. And also just to make the point that this is the build-up to that particular election. That's a by-election in the Akwatia constituency, as well as the Tamale Central constituency. This is your election command center. We're back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital,
from the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sinyane,
from the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds, the moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News, leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. The National Communications Authority, NCA, has suspended the operations of 9 radio stations across the country, including 3 1-2 FM stations across on the screen right now. There, one in Accra, the other in Kumasi in the Ashanti region, and Takoradi in the Western region. Amongst them as well, you have Dom Plus multimedia operators of 105.9 Ho FM, also Dreams Ghana Media, and many others as well, as you see on the screen there. Earlier, I spoke to Andy Apiakubi, the Ashanti Achimno former member of Parliament, who is now lawyer for the One2Me multimedia company. And he indicated to me that the violations the NCA cited them for, they have already addressed it. And so they have a meeting with the NCA tomorrow to rectify whatever reasons they have been punished for. Take a look.
That is commendable, actually. And as always, I don't think that it is fair for us to bring in politics at any time that anybody wants to the law. It is not fair. And I think that the president didn't want our companies to operate. He had a beautiful opportunity at the time we had failed to comply with for him to have this on the right of to cancel our license or anything. And the president, on the other hand, decided to give this moratorium for us to recover and actually perfect our act. And
Hello, Honorable.
so
It keeps going bad again. You're saying that, yes, you commend the president for giving you that grace period. You don't want us to politicize this, but
we did not meet the expectations of the law at the time. It was not only One2Me multimedia company limited. There were so many others who also did not meet the deadline. And the president came in and said that NCA not put them off air, allow them to regularize,
Well, so that's Andy Apiakubi is lawyer for One2Me Multimedia, and Cecil Sunkwamils is president of the Ghana Independent Broadcast Association, also one of our ardent viewers here on Ghana Tonight is joining us. Appreciate you. There's that clear acknowledgement by, at least if you listen to Andy Apiakubi, lawyer for One2Me, that this is not a matter of politics as well. You also conclude that this is the regulator just doing his job?
Yeah, I think we went past the politics discussion previously. The moment the president stepped in, it was very clear it was non-political. And if you look at exactly what the NCA had, the release they did, the NCA is not a political organization, it's a regulator. It spans over different political rulers. So if you look at also what NCA put out, I don't see any link. And furthermore, there were other stations. Why are we focusing on only a specific station and linking it with politics? I think the amnesty was given 30 days. In fact, we went over the 30 days. We reached out personally as Giba to stations. Some stations came through. We referenced them to specific offices in the NCA where they could get assistance. And they did get assistance. So but
to the extent, maybe quickly before I let you go, this keeps happening. Every now and then we hear the NCA come out, give a notice for the withdrawal of these licenses of media houses, radio, television stations that have violated regulatory standards and requirements as well. What should be the learning from this after the president's intervention?
Well, I think if you look at the percentage of defaulting stations, we say about 70% of stations were not involved, 70 or more, were not involved in these infractions. So the ones that were involved, okay, it's important that the NCA also focuses and are closer to the ball on actually, swinging the stick early and giving warning letters and following up with it early. And I think nobody likes to be bitten twice in the same place. So once the NCA is on top of their game, I tend to believe that this kind of activity should see a slowdown on both sides, both the stations and the NCA. So it's to bring the numbers down.
Great. And I do thank you so much for your quick thoughts on this. Cecil Sonkwame is president of the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA. I want to say thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. Join us same time tomorrow for another conversation. I am Alfred. Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.